For all my life, UFOs and aliens have been a fringe topic, where the only people who really took it seriously were guys who looked like they tried to break into Macaulay Culkin's house. Then last year, we had a US congressional hearing where military whistleblowers came forth to share their testimonies on UFOs, or UAPs as we're calling them now. Backed by over 40 credible witnesses, David Grush testified under oath that the US government not only knows of the phenomenon, but that they're actually in possession of crashed ships and non-human biologics. I was astonished. If true, this would have to be the biggest story in human history. The potential to change our entire understanding of physics, religion, and life itself could open us up to a leap in technology thousands or millions of years more advanced than our own. The world heard this and said,
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
because no one gives a shit about aliens when renting a tutu is over $3K a month. We got TikTok dances to make people. I gotta become an influencer so I can even afford to care about other issues. So I did my own research and went to the usual place you go when you want the real answers. What I found is that this topic, much like most things right now, is incredibly divisive, which is never good, because strong beliefs can cloud judgment. On one hand, you have the overly skeptical people who bring up the same arguments. These beings are so advanced that they can travel hundreds, thousands, millions of light years, then surely they wouldn't crash land on Earth. Well, let's look at us. In 2021, there were 6 million reported car accidents in the US alone, and cars are doing a lot less crazy maneuvers than alien spaceships, as long as we're not counting Fast and Furious. I mean, a few days ago, a plane lit on fucking fire transporting cargo and crash landed, and in 2014, we misplaced the entire Malaysian Flight 370, which is still missing a decade later. So let's not pretend advanced beings couldn't crash a vehicle after popping out of an interstellar Alaskan wormhole. Also, people frequently criticize how most depictions of aliens are humanoid in nature. You know, why would an alien have 2 forward-facing eyes, fingers, walk on 2 legs? Because that shit fucking slaps? What are you even talking about? Dolphins, for instance, are incredibly smart. They have the highest encephalization quotient of any animal, second only to humans, and have shown their intelligence time and time again with the ability to communicate, problem solve, plan future events, and have even shown a sense of self-recognition. But they lack one very important thing: hands. Try going 10 minutes throughout your day without using your hands and see how far you get. The point I'm trying to make is that there's a decent chance convergent evolution could have led to aliens having some sort of bipedalism and free hands like we do, for building tools. When it comes to humanoid morphology, like Todd Howard once said,
all of this just works. I'm not kidding.
I think even most skeptics would agree that with the sheer size of the universe, there has to be life out there. A 2020 study estimated there could be as many as 6 billion Earth-like planets in our galaxy alone. And if that isn't enough to make you believe in other life, NASA suggests that based off estimates from the Hubble telescope, that there are around 2 trillion galaxies. If each of them have on average 6 billion of their own habitable planets, well, I feel like it'd be pretty disingenuous of anyone to say that there isn't life out there. Even in our wildest science fiction fantasies like Star Wars and Star Trek, they still for the most part just take place in one galaxy, because that's just how big a galaxy is. There's enough there for endless space stories. So if we can all agree that life has to exist outside of our planet, then that raises the Fermi paradox. Where is all this life? Well, the closest habitable planet is speculated to be 14 light years away, and 1 light year is 6 trillion miles. Even moving at the speed of light, which we are nowhere near doing, it would still take 14 years to get to even the closest potentially habitable planet. So basically going fast enough to get anywhere in a galaxy that's 100,000 light years is a futile effort, which means the only way for aliens to have visited us is for things to get weird.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird.
Okay, everyone has their plane ticket, right?
Yeah, I thought we were chaining Let's Get Weird.
Part of David Grush's statements suggested that these UAPs are interdimensional, which is like, the fuck does that even mean? He uses the analogy of how we in 3 dimensions could cast a shadow on a surface which would be interacting with 2 dimensions. The concept of another dimension existing alongside us that we can't interact with or even perceive seems like bullshit to me. But over the course of my life, I've had to come to accept the weakness of human perception. I mean, if I weren't able to see the power of a smartphone firsthand, I would never have been able to believe it on my own. You're telling me that this handheld device with no wires shoots out waves that go through buildings and people without them even noticing and allows us to talk to someone on the other side of the planet instantly? Yeah, that sounds like bullshit also. But here we are doing exactly that. So I want to be open-minded about this interdimensional claim because there's things imperceivable to humans happening every second of every day that we only know about because of evidence. I know these waves must exist because I can see the product of them every day, and we have machines that can perceive them. Which brings me to the next topic, evidence. The stories and claims of David Grush, Ryan Graves, and Commander Fravor are actually quite compelling. I mean, this is the first time we've had credible high-ranking military officers go before Congress, all under oath, to tell their experiences. My only issue, and this is the case really with every UFO alien story, is a lack of evidence. Yes, we have eyewitness testimonies and people committing to oath, but just like with the smartphone example, if I never saw it with my own eyes, I would never be able to believe it. Many people, including myself, need that one piece of irrefutable evidence, or else it's just a really cool story that I so badly want to be true. In 2020, the Pentagon themselves released 3 videos of real UAPs. This should have been the holy grail of proof, but the problem is, all 3 have pretty well been debunked. And unfortunately, the most interesting one to me, the gimbal video, was also the one that was debunked the hardest by Mick West.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yes, I know Mick West has a reputation for being overly skeptical, and I do agree that there are other debunkings by him that don't seem very compelling, but I mean, the 20-minute debunk he did on the gimbal video was kind of a flawless demonstration of the scientific method. The main reason the video was interesting in the first place was because of the saucer shape and how it rotated against the wind. Well, the saucer shape turned out to be glare from likely the plane's exhaust, and rotation was due to the gimbal camera reorienting itself to keep tracking the target. I know in the official video they say there's a whole fleet of them, but this is another issue with the UFO videos. They always cut away before anything truly interesting happens. Like in the recent jellyfish UFO video, so little happened that people actually thought it was bird shit or a smudge on the lens.
Probably just a smudge on the lens.
Smudge on the lens? Smudge on the lens? I know the difference between a man threatening me and a smudge on the goddamn lens, Summer!
The Corridor crew believed this object to be some kind of mylar balloon floating in the wind, and they make a decent case for it based off what we have in the video, but Jeremy Corbell, the man who leaked the video, says the object then goes on to submerge itself in the water for 17 minutes, re-emerges, and shoots off incredibly fast at a 45-degree angle. That is an incredible claim, and would certainly pull a Uno reverse on any debunkings, but we don't see that part, and that's simply too big of a claim for me to just take at face value. I'm not saying Jeremy or any of the recent whistleblowers are lying. I mean, they testified under oath, and if they're caught lying, they'll be charged with perjury. So I do believe all of them are telling the truth, or at least they believe what they're saying. See, Grush was tasked with investigating the subject and received testimonies from over 40 credible people with first-hand experience. But that then means all of his information is secondhand, so he himself hasn't seen any of these things with his own eyes, he's just reporting on it. At least based off what's been said so far, because supposedly he does have first-hand knowledge and he's going to share it in an upcoming op-ed, which I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Look, I want to believe. Help me believe.
Help me! Help me!
Most people who are all in have had some sort of encounter themselves, which is very nice for you. I would also like to have that one defining moment. But once again, when I see these stories all over YouTube or Reddit comments, I think the same thing. Wow, that's a really cool story. Sure wish you would have pulled your phone out for it though. Like, we are in 2024 now. Every single person has a 4K phone in their pocket at all times. Go to YouTube right now and type in crazy things caught on camera, and you will find pages and pages of crazy things caught on camera. Be it a cell phone camera, dashboard camera, ring camera, security camera, they're everywhere and they have been for like a decade. So this is why I feel the need to place the burden of proof that high. We live in an age where everything is being recorded constantly. We should have better evidence than we do. Unfortunately for the average person, it's also hard to tell what's real out there when we have people doing Tom Cruise deepfakes, AI making Taylor Swift smut films, and VFX artists dedicating way too much time to getting rid of Henry Cavill's mustache. It's just impossible to tell what's real or not. But I can tell you it's not an alien. That object moving in a straight line at a constant pace, put your phone away, homie, it's just one of the 167,000 general aviation planes. Even if it looks like the Tic Tac that Commander Fravor described, unless it's moving erratically like he also described, then it's probably just one of the 5,400 simultaneous US flights going on. Here's a video I recorded of a plane overhead. You can clearly see the wings, but they're already fading out. And then here it is literally 20 seconds later with absolutely no wings. Optical illusions likely account for the vast majority of UFO sightings. Also doesn't help that Elon Musk put up 5,000 Starlink satellites into orbit that people constantly mistake for UFOs. Luckily, Starlink is easy to track, so these videos can be identified relatively consistently with a few details about the sighting. So I think it's safe to say that the video evidence available to us is lacking, but we already knew that, because if there was definitive video evidence, then this wouldn't be a debated subject, it would just be fact. Look, regardless of whether the UAP phenomenon is aliens, classified technology of our own government, foreign adversary technology, or a combination of all three or none, it is a real phenomenon, that much is confirmed. That there are things in our airspace that the government can't identify, and that's a huge problem. So regardless of your stance on the subject, we should all be very much in favor of Congress taking the subject seriously from both a protection standpoint against whatever these UAPs are, and a monetary stance. The Pentagon failed the last 6 audits it's done, and they've only been auditing themselves since 2018. So based off a quick little math, the 2024 minus the 18 carries... Oh, they failed every single audit. Okay. Maybe I'm being dramatic. I mean, they could have just failed by a few outliers that were unaccounted for, and 61% of their $3.7 trillion in assets were unaccounted for? That is actually fucking insane. They can't keep getting away with it! The way I see it, there's only two real options for what's going on with David Grush's claims. Either Grush is correct in his reports and the government's been hiding this UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering program for decades, or he's being lied to by over 40 military witnesses in order to cover up something else, like advanced off-the-books US technology or something like that. Either way, Congress needs to have oversight over these programs they're funding, and luckily with congressmen like Tim Burchett and AOC taking a personal interest, I'm confident that these hearings won't have been in vain. It's important for us to do our part as well. Take these statements seriously. These people are putting their reputations, careers, and their freedom itself on the line to share these testimonies. Who knows what's out there? We barely know what's in our own oceans, jungles, and continents, let alone the galaxy and beyond. The universe is unfathomably large, and we live in an oasis among light years of chaos. It's true, our world is full of lies, corruption, and some truly evil things. It's also full of love, happiness, and optimism for the future. So you take the good with the bad, because this is our home, and home is where you make it.
Now, home is where you make it.
You like to see homos naked?
Home is where you make it.
Yeah, you like to see homos naked. That's cool, man. Whatever.
No. Home is where you make it. Home, where you make it.
Oh,
Everybody know that. Goddamn, boy.
guy likes to see homos naked. That don't help me.
If you like the video and want me to make another one on something like AI, let me know down in the comments. Oh, and subscribe. I'm trying to make it to 1,000 by my birthday in June. Thanks. Have a good one.